Hey, what's going on here, guys? So I just wanted to read and react to an article that I found just surfing my phone earlier when I was at lunch, my lunch break. So, rumor: The Last of Us remake almost complete, out this year in the second half of 2022. So that's not surprising that it's probably going to come out this year, considering that The Last of Us HBO show is rumored to be coming out this year, and of course we may be getting the Last of Us factions, Last of Us Part 2 factions, whatever you want to call it this year. But let's read this article. As you know, I'm a huge Last of Us fan. So if you enjoy The Last of Us and you want to subscribe to a channel that covers The Last of Us, then I suggest you subscribe to my channel because I am a huge fan of The Last of Us. So let's get into this here. The rumored remake of the PlayStation 3 classic The Last of Us is supposedly nearing completion, so much so that we should expect a PS5 release in the second half of 2022. That's according to online tipster Tom Henderson, who says multiple people have shared such information with him. VGC has since backed the claim up, stating that information matches what it has heard through other sources. Both Henderson and VGC have proven to be at least somewhat reliable in the past, so you can put some amount of trust into these claims. That's my cat, Marvin. While the project still hasn't been officially announced by Sony, the news of The Last of Us getting the remake treatment broke last year via a Bloomberg report from Jason Schreier. So yeah, I mean, we've known about this Last of Us remake since last year. How do I feel about a Last of Us remake? I mean, I'm not against it, obviously, but I just kind of feel like it's a little soon. But at the same time, I am curious to see. Let me put my cat down here. He's kind of. It's Marvin, by the way. I am curious to see the original Last of Us in the graphical engine of The Last of Us Part 2, and with the gameplay of The Last of Us Part 2, because I assume that's what it's going to be. I don't think they're going to really alter the story too much. At least I hope they don't, because the story of the original Last of Us, I mean, there's no story in video games that I adore more, really. But I don't know if I wouldn't mind if they had like maybe like deleted scenes or some bonus content, as long as they don't take away anything or try to like revoice or rewrite certain scenes. I wouldn't want them to do that, but I definitely would be curious to see The Last of Us with more modern graphics, and not to say that the original Last of Us that came out in 2013 doesn't look good, because I still think it holds up today. I think the gameplay feels a little bit outdated, especially now after playing The Last of Us Part 2. But yeah, anyway, let's keep reading here. In it, it claimed PlayStation's Visual Art Service Group was the lead developer before being relegated to a sports studio. Naughty Dog co-president Neil Druckmann said he's dying to share all the games the team has in the works during Sony's CES 2022 conference, and this is likely to be one of them. And of course, Sony had a big presence at CES 2022. They officially announced the name of their next generation PlayStation virtual reality headset, the VR2. But I may get VR2 at launch, but I've never tried virtual reality out. But I wonder why Neil Druckmann was there. I don't know. Yeah, I guess he's like, well, I mean, he's one of the figureheads of Naughty Dog, Naughty Dog is probably Sony's biggest studio. I mean, either them or Santa Monica studio. So I'm curious to see the games that Naughty Dog has coming down the pipeline here. However, Henderson didn't stop there with his claims. He also thinks the long-awaited Naughty Dog standalone multiplayer project, right, The Last of Us Factions, it's usually referred to as, is also nearing completion and could even launch this year too. Furthermore, Tom Henderson believes a director's cut of The Last of Us Part 2 is on the way on its way the way to PS5. Now, I don't know how I feel about a director's cut to The Last of Us Part 2 because I already feel like the game is pretty long. And I know Last of Us Part 2 story is very controversial. I'm one of the people that love it. You know, people either love the story of The Last of Us Part 2 or hate it. I'm one of the people that loves it. I mean, would I play Last of Us Part 2 director's cut? Of course I would, because I'm just a huge fan of Last of Us. But I don't know if it really needs a director's cut. But I would be curious to see what they would do with it. So I don't know. I would have to wait and see on that. Where was I? Furthermore, Tom Henderson believes a director's cut of The Last of Us Part 2 is on the way to PS5. I've heard they are coming to, but I don't know exactly when or how. VGC doesn't comment on these other claims in its own article, suggesting the site wasn't able to corroborate these particular rumors. Henderson points out that Sony currently has a fairly quiet Q3 and Q4 periods on the cards before anything has been announced, suggesting he thinks God of War Ragnarok will be out for PS5 and PS4 sooner rather than later. Right? God of War Ragnarok, a very anticipated game for me, highly anticipated game for me. I do think it will come out this year, just because initially it was supposed to be out in 2021. So I mean, if we get Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok, that's a very good year from PlayStation Studios. But if we also get The Last of Us Remake and Factions, that's going to be a hell of a year from PlayStation Studios. Horizon Forbidden West releases next month, right? I'm very excited about Horizon Forbidden West. And then Gran Turismo 7 isn't far behind on March 4th of 2022. Don't really care about that, but I know there's a lot of people that are big into Gran Turismo. So, I mean, other than that, that's pretty much the whole article. I just figured I should make this video because I'm a big fan of The Last of Us, and I really do like talking about the series. And I think 2022 is going to be a big year for this franchise between the HBO show, the remake. It looks like the remake is coming out this year. I bet they want to try to get the remake out around the time they release the show. I mean, that's what I assume. And potentially Factions, which I think I'm the most curious about, and I'm not even that big of a multiplayer guy, and I didn't really play much of the original Factions on the original Last of Us, but I just enjoy The Last of Us Part 2 core gameplay so much that if they have that in a multiplayer game, I definitely want to try it out. And it sounds like Naughty Dog is really going all out for this multiplayer game. It's going to be like the first standalone multiplayer game that they've made. And I've always thought Naughty Dog has had solid multiplayer experiences. Again, I'm not a big multiplayer guy, but, you know, that can change. And I actually have been playing a lot of multiplayer of Halo Infinite in recent months. So maybe I'm starting to become more of a multiplayer guy. But I'm excited for the Last of Us franchise, and Sony's definitely making this feel like this is their marquee franchise now. I mean, either that or God of War. It's good to see The Last of Us getting all this love and support, and it's getting a TV show, multiplayer, remake. But at the same time, I just hope. Here's Marvin again. Say goodbye, Marvin. I just hope that they don't milk The Last of Us ever. I don't think they will, but I love this franchise and I'm protective of it. But I think I trust Sony, and I think they'll handle this IP with love and care. And I'm looking forward to the TV show. And whenever they release that trailer, I'll definitely probably release a reaction video to that and talk about that. But anyway, I don't really have much other to say than that. But I think 2022 is going to be a big year for the Last of Us franchise. So I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.